Moving abroad and feeling like a fish out of water, culture shock can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. Hi, my name is Keanon Slade, and I have successfully achieved FIRE. That is, I have achieved financial independence, retired early, and I'm here in sunny Costa Rica. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's really important, adjusting to the culture, and honestly trying to get through that culture shock feeling as quickly as possible. So if you want to know some tips, I want you to stay tuned to the very end. And let's get into it. When I moved to Costa Rica, and again, it doesn't have to be Costa Rica, it can be any place outside the United States. The thing that you find out really quick is the country that you choose is not the United States in another part of the world. The country that you choose actually has its own culture. And that may seem simple and it looks easy enough on paper until you're experiencing it. And if you're like a lot of my viewers who are divorced men, you're gone away from one big thing, which was your divorce, and as big enough it is to enter culture shock and trying to get adjusted. There's some things that you're going to actually have to do to be able to make it work. I want to stop you real quick just to say something to my divorced men. If you guys are looking for something that will help you after you've been divorced, separated, heck, even dumped, and you're still looking to move abroad and you're trying to figure out how do you adjust and to deal with this, I want to have something special for you because honestly, going through that situation, I want to give you something a little bit different because your journey is different, and you can find that information in the link below, and let's get into the rest of the video. The first point to actually help you do all that is to be able to take in the culture. What I mean by that is when before you're looking at the place, research some books, get into some forums and groups. And again, you're going to have to take the forums and groups with a grain of salt because you don't know if they're going to be good or not. You get a lot of people's opinions or people who are technically tourists, they never lived there. Yeah, you want to ask some qualifying questions like, how long have you been here? And what do you think? Versus, oh, I visited there 3 times and I had a terrible time. You were at that beach and that resort, and that has nothing to do with the country. You want to be able to learn more about the culture by whatever means necessary. Now, if you decided to get there and you were like me, you're like, all right, it's beautiful, it's good enough, I visited, all right, we're moving. 6 months later, boom, I'm there. You want to be able to sit and immerse yourself in the culture. And you may think that's easy. You're in a different country. It's going to be easy to immerse yourself into the culture. No, it's actually probably easier not to. You actually have had some fundamental habits that you probably cultivate for the last 30 years or so, and you don't realize how ingrained they are. There's things where when we first got here, it was like, let's get Jiffy peanut butter. It's being imported. So we're paying import tax. So Jiffy peanut butter was very expensive. The eating habits that we had was very expensive because we were trying to eat as if we were in the United States and we were actually in Costa Rica. And if you're doing the same thing, if you're in Japan or if you're in Philippines or wherever you're gonna go, if you get stuck, especially to a brand, then you're not going to be able to essentially live cost effectively, and you're not gonna really be able to get into the culture. Because if there's a party, a get together, I was gonna say fiesta, but you may not be going to a Latin speaking place or Spanish speaking place, but if you're going to a party, they're not going to have the things that you're accustomed to. And if you haven't taken time to get accustomed to just the food and the culture and when their celebrations are, everybody is not celebrating 4th of July. Trust me. And so you want to be able to adjust to the culture as quickly as possible, which means that you're going to have to immerse yourself. If you find this video good and you're resonating with it, I want you to stay to the very end because there's some tips in this video that I don't want you to miss, especially the last one. And I want you guys to be able to hang on in this journey of the video so that you can enjoy your journey of a lifetime. Let's get into the next point. The next point is understanding you're going to feel out of place. And it's okay. Because one of the things that, when you're joining to a different culture, and especially if you are now on this journey, maybe you plan to go with your spouse, you've got a divorce or you're separated and you decide to take the journey anyway, you're going to actually have to do things that are uncomfortable. You're going to end up meeting groups of people and they're going to invite you over. And if you're in a place that you don't know the language, it definitely feels uncomfortable. But it all is part of the process. It's all part of the journey. If you avoid those things of getting uncomfortable and you stay in your comfort zone, you're never going to grow. And so you have to realize whether it's the language, whether it's meeting new people and friends. Friends was a big one for me because I realized I've known most of my friends for 20, 30 years. And Yeah, if I wanted new friends or if I wanted to meet new people, normally someone in my group would bring them to my get-togethers and I would meet them there. I didn't have to do much work. But if you're in a different country, now the work is on you. And that's okay. Just be aware that this is part of adjusting to the culture, is that you're going to have find a new friend base, and you're potentially going to have to grow and learn the language, that so that yes, you got one English speaking friend, but if you got a party of 20 and you only got one person speaking English, then you only got one person to talk to, which is not good. And heaven forbid they have to walk away for punch, and it's really that uncomfortable feeling. No, you're going to have to adjust that and stick that out. Realize that it's here and that it's good, and it will actually help you enjoy your paradise even that much more. You will appreciate it. And so if you're resonating with what we've been talking about, I want you guys to click on the link below, because there are some tools that will actually help you along your journey. Because when you're going to a different country or you're trying to fire, you need to be able to think outside of the box. If you're not thinking outside the box, you'll find yourself, okay, I'm trying to apply the United States principles that worked for the last 30 or 40 years over here, and for some odd reason, they're not working. No, that's because you're in that box. You need to come out of that box. And one way of doing that is to be able to click that link and have some tools that help you. And let's get into the next point. The next point is to have an open mind. And I talk about this a lot, and I'll put it in other terms. Have a growth mindset. If you have a fixed mindset or a closed mind, then when you find new opportunities, you're like, oh, I don't do that. We don't do that. Now, I'm not saying do stuff that's bad or do things that are sinful or anything like that, but being able to do something different can really make a big difference. For example, a lot of people here, since the beach is so close, on the weekends, instead of just laying around the house, we probably did in the States because it was winter, we didn't have to work, we laid around the house, watched TV, click, put on English TV. Now it's, okay, let's get in the car, travel 2 hours, an hour and a half, it depends on where you live. And again, I keep referencing Costa Rica because I'm putting things in my perspective, but it could be for you. It could be like, let's go to the beach, let's go to the mountains, let's go see this historical site. It's going to take us, we're going to do a day trip. It's going to be a 3-hour trip both ways. You're like, I don't get in the car for 6 hours. Have an open mind, especially if you don't have any physical problems that are going to cause you harm. Oh, my back breaks when I sit in the car for an hour. No. But if you don't have any problems like that, then you want to have an open mind and be able to see new opportunities and new things. There's some things that I would have never thought of actually going to see. If I had a closed mind, I would have never saw those things. And because I did, I was able to see a lot more and enjoy the place more than I could have ever imagined. And so you want to be able to do the same. And so you need to start with having an open mind. This question is for those who've actually already jumped ship. How have you handled culture shock? I want you guys to put that in the comments below, and I will get into the next point. The next point is to learn the local language. And I cannot stress this more than enough. Because when you're in a place and you're trying to speak, you might sound like a second grader, people tend to respect that you're trying. Instead of giving that United States look like, don't you speak English? Everybody in the world must. No, you're not going to earn any brownie points with that. You're going to probably get Gringo's prize if you're not already getting that already, because you become essentially the outsider who is not going to try. You're not going to change your habits in someone else's home. And because that's not your home yet, the goal is to be able to learn the language and to begin to talk to different people. Doing this helps you get over your culture shock, because when you walk into a place, I remember when I first walked into the place, it was like, blah, 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 blah. People screaming and angry. I was like, and after I learned, it was like, they're not angry. They're talking about last night's football or soccer game, and they wanted such and such to win, or they're talking about this. And it's like a friendly conversation just with a lot of energy. And because, I, didn't understand the language, and, maybe you come at, for me, I don't know why I was like, being extra cautious, in a new place. It's like, oh, they're mad or it's fearful. Okay, let's watch out for them. I think they're going to go off. They're going to go postal. Because I'm applying the United States stuff when people get real mad. Oh, we're pulling guns. In Costa Rica, I'm not going to say there's zero guns, because that's definitely a lie. But the gun law is completely different. So that notion of a general person, a law-abiding person just going to the trunk is probably something I should be thinking of. If you're sitting in a place and you're in the unknown and you're trying to get over culture shock, to be able to realize what's going on when somebody said something is to learn the language, and that really helps you go a long way to get over your culture shock. The last point I will say, and I did say this is a good point, you should wait for it, is that you should know your roots or keep your roots. And so if you're going to know and keep your roots, realize there's some things that you want to have that are fundamental. Just because you're in a different place, you don't have to do everything that they do. Yes, adjusting, maybe get some food here and there, and the language and some things like that. But know your roots. If there's some things, especially if you want to keep the way that you do birthdays versus the way, it's celebrated in other, the new country, especially with your kids and things like that, keep those practice going on. Also, when I say your roots, now this doesn't necessarily go away when you go to a country, but if you are reading your Bible and you realize one of your roots, your spiritual root, is in Christ and God, you want to make sure that you're not so busy learning the land and learning the language that you're dropping the spiritual aspect, that you're not spending time with God, because that particular root will make things a lot harder as you separate yourself from God, because you're too busy learning and helping everyone and doing different things and going through divorce or whatever it is. You want to be able to stay grounded. One of the things that helped me was that I did have a routine, especially when I left. It was like, okay, here's what we're going to keep up. We're going to continue to exercise. We're going to continue to be active. We're going to continue to read the word. We're going to continue to keep in communication with friends and family, even if that's through Zoom. And we're going to celebrate this, that way. And so those things are staples, while other things can be flexible. We're going to do this different thing on this weekend. Normally we sit in the house and play video games, but we're going out. Those are the differences that you can make that will actually really help your journey and actually help you adjust to the culture. So if you found this video interesting and you're sitting here at the end, I want you to do one thing for me. It's actually a list of things. I want you to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and trying to get to 100,000 so that the word gets out and be able to help people. Thousands of people are watching my videos. Hit the subscribe button. I didn't realize this would be a big thing. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment. And if you've gotten this far, I want you to click the link in the description to actually help you on your journey. Until then, I will see you on the other side.